Okay everybody, thanks for joining me. This video is going to be a bit different. It's a fly tying tutorial, and what we're going to cover, the grey squirrel and the cling film fly. Now this pattern started its journey 2.5 years ago when Justin Allen was on the water fishing with a black muskin. I was really impressed with the amount of fish that he was pulling on this pattern. So I take one home and the first thing I start doing is tweaking it. And the end result is what you're going to see now. This pattern now is in various sizes, from a size 18 up to a size 10. And the larger of the patterns is very successful when the fish are feeding on fish fry. I can fish this pattern static or with a really fast strip, or even fish it on the top with a bit of kink on it like a dry fly. Well, it's not a dry, and keeping it high, it's a bit of cling film. I'll show you this point fly in a short while. I don't think you're going to believe it. Well, yeah, you would. It's a bit different. Okay, first of all is the hooks. The hooks I'm using for most of the time is going to be the Full & Mill, and they're going to vary from an 18 up to 10. When I'm using a larger pattern, that's normally imitating pin fry, and that'll then be fished quite quickly just below the surface. The thread is the black uni thread, the wire to hold the dubbing down. I've got the soft wire, it's quite fine, it's a 7 gram. And the colour, I don't think it really matters too much. If you decide you're going to put a red, a black, a silver, could be a little tweak that could improve. But it's not as if you're going to see much of this, but it's more just to secure, as I say, the dubbing. And the dubbing that I'm using is the Waspy Natural Fur Grey Squirrel. Now, as I'm going to be showing you two variations of this pattern, the first will be with white ostrich herl, and the other one that you've all been quite keen to see me do is the cling film. Now the cling film is absolutely brilliant, and you can use it for a lot of different things. When you start tying it up with cling film, I'm sure your imagination is going to take you a lot further. You can do a lot of wings with it. Obviously the less folds you put into it, the more translucent it is, the more, and as you fold it up more and more, the heavier it becomes. But then what you do, you start stretching it. Now I've also used this as the top of the thorax in place of the body stretch. So I'm tying that in at the eye, pulling it back, putting my materials on and pulling it back over. And that's effective. But lots of little stubs with it, wings, there's a lot you can do with it. And the great thing about the material, it's really durable. So the other thing that I'm using obviously is dubbing wax. Dubbing wax goes on the thread and that helps hold everything together. If you haven't got dubbing wax, no problem. You might have some Pritt stick. I used to use a lot of Pritt stick before using this. So let's crack on and tie the fly. Okay, so we start by putting the tying thread onto the hook, and I'm using the tail to help me get close wraps down the shank. Back up. Now you'll notice I am never too critical with any of my patterns, such as if you're putting a dressing on this side and this side. A lot of people spend a lot of time making sure they're exact. For me, I look at that and I do not understand this from a fisherman's point of view, possibly because we're viewing it from all angles. The fish is going to be coming from one side or the other. It's not checking that it's all equal. So I never really get that. But once we got the tying thread on, what I'm doing is putting Now this is, you're going to love this because this is such a simple fly. Just wrap your wire in. What I'm doing then is just putting a little bit of wax onto the tying thread. Now I don't know how everybody does these things. I just know the way that I know. And then quite sparsely put the squirrel on, and quite loosely. This pattern is supposed to be quite sparse. Okay, so once you got your dubbing on, opposite direction with the wire, giving it a bit of a wriggle as you're going up. That'll sort of separate the fibres so that they're not held down too much. Couple of turns. Hold that in. Snap that off. Fibres there just a bit too long. If you've got some that are sticking out towards the front, just pull them back and wrap them in. Okay, and we're near enough on it already. Now the other thing I'll do then, I'll be tying in the ostrich herl at the front. Pull that back, and then giving that a few turns. Now you can put as many turns as you want of this. This is mainly just, it shows up a bit more and it's more of a strike point, and then just tie that in. Sorry if my hands are all over the place, it's very difficult. And that is simple as you get. Put a few of them fibres there back. And just smarten it up a bit. Rip finish. Chop them off. Then it's just apply the lacquer or the varnish, and that is as simple as it gets, and that varied in different patterns, as I say, is brilliant. Okay, what I've done, I've put the second hook in, I've obviously dubbed it up, and what I'm going to do now is use the cling film. All I'm going to do is cut a piece of the cling film. Once I've cut the cling film, we just keep folding it over. Fold it, roll it, cling it, just get it all stuck together. And then we'll start stretching it. Pull it, stretch it. And as you're stretching it, you'll find that the veining, and it holds itself together quite well. You get that veining going through. You can have whatever thickness you want, keep stretching it, it'll go thinner, but also the less folds that you have, the more translucent it is. So I'll use it sometimes, tie it in there for the top of the thorax. Instead of a body stretch, you can put it in there, put your materials on, fold it over, use it as wings. You can just use it as a single as there, or you can double it up. I've sometimes had little tags of it on the buzzers. There's so much you can do with this material. So I'm just going to put that underneath, tie that in there, around the back, over the top. Now if you want the wings to come up higher, you leave them as they are. And what I'm doing there, I'm pulling them back and laying them down tighter to the body. Pull that down a bit. Manipulate them, get them where you want them. Put that in there. And that is it. And that is as simple as it gets. Very effective. I don't know what the fish think about it. I haven't asked them, but I'm just done that. Whip finish. You can create a lot of different things with the material. Whatever length you want the wing, get them both there. I'll angle it up, angle that one up, and that's him done. So there's your wings. But it's very, very effective, and I've had a lot of fish on this. Now when you're cutting the likes of the wings, you can, if you want, pull them up. If you want to be exact, pull them up out of the way, get the scissors under and cut them. But yeah, straightforward, easy enough. Now the other thing I'll do with these patterns as well, I'll fish this at all levels, but if I want them to be fished as a dry fly, then all I do is put a little bit of gink on there, and when I'm ginking them up, I leave them dry for a while as well. If you're going to gink it up and you put them straight in the water, they don't work as well, it doesn't float as well. But as soon as you let that dry, 5 minutes or so, it works a hell of a lot better. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Give us a thumbs up, give us a comment. So until the next video, take care.